everyone, and welcome to Transformational Tuesdays. I'm Teresa Velardi, your host for this time of inspiration, education, motivation, and conversation focused on key ingredients necessary to create positive change in our lives, which I call transformation. And I'm so glad that you all are joining me for these transformational conversations. Every week we do our best to bring you something that's going to be useful in your life, going to create a change for you, that's going to move you in a positive direction, and where, of course, you want to go. And I'm sure that transformation is a part of your life right now. We are all transforming. One thing that I can tell you that is constant in our lives, it's change. So whether we're talking about the weather, whether we're talking about people around us and our relationships, or whether we're talking about our business, everything is always in flux and flow. So, and that's what transformation is all about. Now, for those of you who participated in our survey, thank you so much. If you haven't yet done that, we would still like to know your answers. So if you take a few minutes to do that, that would be awesome. We are making some changes. As some of you know from a couple of weeks ago, we are starting every 6 weeks. We are doing Tech Time with my incredible assistant, Doreen Harper, who is the founder of Ambitions, AMBICIONZ. We did our first Tech Time utilizing some information about Google Mail, Gmail, and some tools that can help you manage your email better and set up systems within your email platform. We talked about Facebook Live. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff and technology that's out there and useful for you. And I want to remind you that the website now has a little bit of a new look, and there is a contact form there. If you have questions about technology or any of the categories that you see listed there, or anything else that's on your mind, please, I encourage you to fill out that, and so that we can address whatever it is that you would either like to hear about in terms of any of those topics, particularly if you have a question about technology for our next Tech Time, which is going to be every 6 weeks. So the last one was the 31st of January, so count 6 weeks ahead, and that's where we'll be. But in the meanwhile, we're going to be bringing you great information and great shows, great interviews in the meantime. And I have one of those people who has recently been introduced to me and has brought some information that is life-changing for those of you who are really not able to quiet your mind, as is the quote-unquote norm for meditation. So let me introduce our guest today, Bernadette Kozlowski. Hi, Bernadette. How are you?
Good, Teresa. How are you?
Good. So good to see you here. So I had the great privilege of meeting Bernadette through a mutual friend of ours, one of my best friends, Judy Ushak. Thank you, Judy, for this introduction. I really appreciate it. And let me just tell you a little bit about Bernadette. So first of all, let's just talk about what we're going to talk about today. You know, this world is very complex, and our minds are constantly racing, whether we're got a million things going on. And as women, we always have a million things going on. We've got family, we've got our businesses, we've got the technology that we're using. And it's no wonder that our minds are racing and keeping us from meditation, as we think. But we're going to have a new viewpoint on that. So you can quickly learn an approach that's based on the biology of the relaxation response to help you deal with those racing thoughts that have previously kept you from the mental clarity of meditation. So have more mental clarity, greater happiness, less stress, and more self-awareness. And during this time together, we are actually going to learn some skills that can bring you into every existing moment of your day. The process is easier than you think, and I can testify to that because I went to a workshop with Bernadette, and it was really very enlightening about meditation. So she's going to remove the mystery behind what really happens for healthy meditators, and meditation is a vibrant experience, not monotonous, and it takes some skill to handle that aliveness. So we'll practice a technique or some techniques during our time together that will guide you in sensing and welcoming the rhythms of our senses, your individual senses, your instincts and emotions in this modern Western approach to meditation. And you'll take away some powerful, fresh language, making meditation accessible to either the newcomer or refresh a practice of someone who is more experienced in the practice of meditation. So a little bit about Bernadette and her skills as a facilitator. She is a certified meditation coach and founder and CEO of Light Your Fire Meditation. I love the name of your business. She discovered instinctive meditation as a way to handle grief and fell in love with how meditation made her feel vibrant, alive, creative, and more self-aware. So using her science background as a biology educator and her love of nature, Bernadette has developed a unique style of teaching meditation which appeals to beginners as well as those looking to refresh their practice. She works with individuals, groups, and corporations in person, on the phone, and over the internet. Thank you, Zoom, for that. She also has an online basic meditation course available on her website. She has a biology degree from Lehigh University and a master's in biology from East Stroudsburg University. Under the guidance of Dr. Lauren Roche and Camille Maureen, Bernadette has trained at the Kripalu Center in Massachusetts and Esalen in California. Lauren and Camille are international experts in instinctive meditation and authors of multiple books, including Meditation Made Easy, The Radiant Sutras, and Meditation Secrets for Women. You can contact her at you find her website on lightyourfiremeditation.com, and we'll give you your contact information later on. Welcome, Bernadette. I'm so grateful that you're here.
Well, thanks, Teresa. It's great to be here and see everybody here at noon on a Tuesday afternoon, and to hopefully share some things about meditation that can help you right away.
Yeah, I love this community. They show up. Hi to all of you who have just joined us while I was reading the information for Bernadette. So, you know, I have some experience with Kripalu. I've been there many times, so I'm familiar with the various things that they teach you there. And my experience has been in the past that you've got to sit quietly in order to meditate and encourage your mind to stop all the chatter and whatnot. How is the type of meditation that you do and you teach for our audience? How is it different than the norm?
Well, it's different. It's different, Teresa, because it busts all the stereotypes about meditation. When I went up to Kripalu to learn meditation the first time, I'd gone through some grief. I was a mess. I'd been somewhere else and learned a little bit and liked it, but I said, I want to go for a week. So I went up there with stereotypes in my head. I thought there'd be people walking around in robes. I thought we'd be sitting cross-legged all the time. And I have really bad knees. So I thought, I can't sit cross-legged. How am I going to do this? And I thought it would be tons of imposed silence, and it would be really hard work, but it would be good for me. And my plate's already full enough, so I didn't know how I was going to add this next project on, but I knew it was going to be good. Well, I got there and it wasn't anything I expected, because it flipped all these stereotypes on its head. We were allowed to be totally comfortable. I laid on the floor under a blanket most of the time. People were in chairs. Some people were sitting cross-legged on cushions. But the instructor was Dr. Lauren Roche, and what caught me right away is that he has his PhD in meditation, and he started learning with the physiology of it, and then he studied the language of what happens when people follow monks, that they try to be monk-like when they meditate. And then he developed a system, and he got his PhD by interviewing people. What's really working? People that were healthy meditators, that were getting the benefits, that had normal everyday lives. They weren't in a monastery. What was happening and what were they doing in their meditation? So for almost 50 years, he's been studying this and teaching it. And so I fell in love with his scientific approach, his research, the biology of it. I taught biology and chemistry for 25 years. So as soon as the science came in, I was sold, and I felt the benefits immediately that week. And so what's different about this is it's based on the idea that meditation is a natural biological process. And when we meditate, it's there to balance the stress response. And, everyone's, I know the stress response, blood pressure goes up and breathing rate goes up, and all these stress chemicals are flowing through your body. It's natural, it's quick, and it's automatic. Well, everything in our body has a natural opposite and a natural balance. We breathe in, we breathe out, our blood pressure goes up, our blood pressure goes down. We're constantly monitoring oxygen levels. For example, calcium levels. You have too much calcium, you put it into your bones. You have too little, it comes out of your bones. You're constantly playing with this. So our body is naturally wired to meditate. It's called the relaxation response, and it's the exact opposite of the stress response. And it's just as automatic if we get over the mental blocks on it, we stop fighting ourselves, we stop fighting thoughts, and we just allow it to happen. So the trick is you find something you love, you give yourself permission to rest. You find something that you love, and then you rest with it. And it's a very natural, automatic process that we just don't tap into because we think we have to go see a guru or go to India or work at it for many, many months to get results. And when I start working with people, once they get past the stereotype and the cultural mindset against rest, they can meditate very quickly and get benefits. Within days, they start to see changes in their lives.
I love that. Give yourself permission to rest. You know, as women, as I said earlier, we have so many different roles that we play. We've got families to take care of. We've got all the things of the households. We've got our own businesses and all the things that are going on. And we don't normally do that, give ourselves permission to rest. So I was intrigued. So for those of you who didn't hear this before, I did do a workshop with Bernadette, and I learned that this is a lot easier than you think it is. So, you know, tell me a little bit about this type of meditation, the instinctive modern freestyle. You talked about it a little bit and how it's so natural and the opposites of what goes on in your brain, you know, stress versus relaxation and so forth. And then can you take us through a little bit of practicing giving ourselves permission to rest?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. What we'll do here is I'll time it for a minute and let you know when the minute is up. But I would love you to say that I give myself permission to rest. And you can say it out loud or you can say it quietly inside. But the trick to this, and this is so important, is that you've got to feel it from an emotional standpoint, from your belly, from your gut. It's a whole body saying. And the words are so powerful. I'm finding in my work for the last couple of years that this is the most powerful thing I teach. If I never see you again, this can be hugely impactful. And if you want to build a meditation practice, this is the starting point. So no other instructions besides I give myself permission to rest. Your eyes can be open or closed. And let's just sit for a minute and notice what happens.
Is there anything that we need to do in terms of breath work? I know how important breath work is with meditation. So we don't have to pay attention to anything except for that phrase, I give myself permission to rest.
There's no instructions here, nothing you have to do. There's no rules. Just notice what happens. And your awareness can do whatever it wants. But I give myself permission to rest and notice what happens.
And you'll time us?
I'll time it for a minute. When it's up, I'll let you know. Make sure you say it with some feeling. I give myself permission to rest.
Okay.
That's been about a minute.
Wow.
Teresa, is there a way people can make comments now on what they experienced?
Yes, absolutely. And I will encourage you, if you are on the phone and you want to raise your hand to be heard, press *9. If you are on video, just raise your hand or click on the little hand thing that you have there while we're gathering this information. I can tell you that for myself, I've had a crazy morning. I usually do on Tuesdays. But during those few minutes of telling myself, I give myself permission to rest, I could feel my shoulders drop. I could feel myself actually, for lack of a better phrase, drop into my body, because usually when I'm racing around, I'm all over the place. I'm up here and I'm out there and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And that's the way, you know, meditation for racing minds, my mind, especially on Tuesdays as I'm preparing for this, I'm racing all over the place. You know, I've got this to do today, that to do today, but I felt myself really kind of like drop into my body, be present with the experience. And I actually felt my shoulders drop down. Anybody else have anything similar experience? Barbara, let's open your line. Okay.
It's funny because when I started out saying the sentence, I give myself permission to rest, I started with that tempo. But then the more I said it, it started to match my heartbeat. And then it got slower and slower and slower. So the words were, I give myself permission to rest. It was weird. It's like I didn't even think about, starting at one tempo, and I ended up completely at a different tempo. So
thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else want to share?
Hi, I'm Krista. I'm on the phone.
Hi.
From Island. Hi. So when I did the exercise, I noticed that sometimes thoughts would run through my head, and I'd be like, well, it's just for a minute. I can give myself permission to rest just for a minute. Mm-hmm. And I started taking deep breaths and feeling my shoulders drop and things like that. And maybe that's the key, the idea of, are we really fully giving ourselves the permission to rest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good point. Mm-hmm.
So let me let's address that, because you said something really key here, Krista. The thoughts in your mind. Like, I've always been taught to kind of like previously, before I met you, I've been taught to just acknowledge the thought, thank it for being there, and set it aside. So Krista said that she had some thoughts. Can you tell us how to handle those thoughts that come into your mind during this new way of meditating?
Yeah, what's interesting about this way of meditating is, is all of you just had a totally different experience, and I didn't give you any rules. And some of you just paid attention to your body. Some of you noticed thoughts. And not everybody piped in there, but I'm sure some of you felt racing thoughts and beat yourself up over it. Oh, I'm supposed to be resting. I shouldn't have thoughts. And so what I often hear people say, and it's very common, that I was having thoughts. I was trying to stop them. I couldn't. I can't do this. Or my mind raced for for most of the time, and maybe 10 seconds I had quiet, thank God. And so when you put a rule on yourself that's imposed from somewhere else that you're supposed to stop your thoughts, when they come in, you feel like you failed because you've broken the rule that you're not supposed to have thoughts. And meanwhile, thoughts are incredible and they're wonderful. And it's very natural when we stop to rest that thoughts come up to help us process things. You go, and in comes a thought about what happened this morning. What do I have to do after this conference call? What's happening in my life? Oh, there's a car that's going by. Oh, my dog ran in the room. Oh, what about that memory? What am I making for dinner? Oh, my body feels so good. My shoulders just relaxed. My breathing has changed. This feels great. Oh, the minute's up. And that's very typical and normal. And so when you welcome yourself into a meditation, you welcome all parts of yourself. So not only do you say, I give myself permission to rest, but you give yourself permission to welcome thoughts, sensations in your body, emotions, feelings, memories, rehearsing for the future. But the magic here is you don't get a death grip on it and work it. You just handle those thoughts very gently. It's like you're sitting on the beach, your favorite, maybe your vacation spot is the beach, and you're sitting there for a couple days, a week, hopefully, and thoughts come into your head sitting on the beach. Well, what do you usually do? You go, oh yeah, something's going on at home. I'm sitting at the beach. I don't have to do anything about that right now. So you sort of let them come in, but they're there. And you know what you said, Teresa, about getting the thoughts in and then putting them aside for a moment. When we do that, it separates ourselves from ourselves. So when you have thoughts and you say, go away, I'm meditating, or you have an emotion and you say, go away, I'm meditating, you're missing that chance to fully be with yourself and experience and sense everything. And that's the magic of this type of meditation that makes it so healing, is that you actually spend time with yourself, with all parts. And to think that we can empty our brains on command and be sitting there blissful is what's keeping a lot of people from meditating and getting the benefits. But keep in mind that what we think meditation is what monks do, because the monks have done it for so long and they've written it down and then they've shared it. And then Westerners have gone over and learned from the monks and come back. So most of the teaching that is going on now is training people to be monk-like. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're going to be a monk. But if you're not going to be a monk, you're practicing blocking out the real world you're living in a monastery with a superior that you are submissive to, you give up your desires, wants, and needs, and you just block out the real world.
Yeah.
And you don't have much to do. I mean, monks have lots to do. I'm generalizing here. But your food is taken care of. Your health insurance is taken care of. You know, you're wearing the same outfit every day. You don't even have to decide what you're picking to wear. And so when you meditate as a normal, everyday, modern human being in the West, and especially for women, you bring everything in because this is your time to process and integrate. Think about when any of you have had your best moments of aha and inspiration. It's during a time of rest. Everyday people, scientists, musicians, artists, it comes in that rest time. So when we work, it's so important. We're building all the pieces. And when we rest, click, 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 things come together. And so when we welcome everything in and allow it to percolate and allow this wonderful, incredible brain to do what it needs to do, life is great. Now, once you welcome the thoughts in, you'll often find they slow down or they get quieter. But there are no rules about how to do this. Your thoughts can be fast, they can be slow, they can be present, they can be absent. You can be agitated, you can be totally at rest. And meditation is really about welcoming that rhythm of, I feel totally at rest, I feel restless. Oh, I'm so comfortable here. Ooh, I've got to get something done later. And if you understand that's a normal, natural rhythm, and you just ride the waves, being with whatever you're paying attention to, and then being with your thoughts, feelings, emotions, meditation becomes easy, effective, and healthy. You can sit for 10 minutes to meditate, and let's say you decide to pay attention to music or a candle or an affirmation or sensations in your body or a memory, and you might sit for 10 minutes, and 9 minutes your thoughts will be racing, you'll be agitated, things will be happening, and then 1 minute you drop into rest. That's a great meditation. If you do the same thing tomorrow, and you get 9 minutes of total rest and only 1 minute of busy stuff, that's a great meditation as well. And if you understand that concept and you understand it's natural and normal to have all this happening during meditation, all of a sudden it becomes easy.
Wow. Yeah, it just lifted that, like, that box of like what other people believe you should be doing in order to meditate. And what you said is, like the thoughts of creative things come to me when, and I'm sure who else can relate to, you get brilliant brainstorms in the shower, in the shower, because you're alone with the water, with the experience of just focusing on the experience. I'm taking a shower, and I get all these great thoughts that come into my mind because I'm allowing myself to just be present with me in the shower. And that's what, giving yourself permission to rest, it's the same type of thing. So, as far as, you covered so much in that. I was taking notes here. Welcoming everything in, and you're basically welcoming the rhythm of life and paying attention to every moment of it, whether you're paying attention to your racing mind or a quiet part of that time together.
Yeah.
So are there any particular skills you can give us besides, I feel silly asking you this because it's like everything can be a meditation. Driving for me is very meditative. I write in the morning. That's a very meditative process for me. So are there any skills that you can share with anybody, particularly if they do not have a meditation practice in place right now and are looking for one that's going to work? I think this is ideal, but let's talk about some particular skills.
Okay. The first thing you can do is take that minute exercise we just did and practice it 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. There are no rules. It's great in times of transition, right when you wake up, before you leave the house, before you sit down for a meal, maybe in between phone calls at work, before a tough conversation. I like to do it when I drive somewhere before I get out of my car. I give myself permission to rest. And whatever happens, happens. So I don't have any rules about what I'm going to experience. So those are meditative type moments, and that's the number one skill to build. And then the next skill is saying, what am I curious about? What do I want to pay attention to? And just pay attention to it very gently and very lightly and notice what happens. And if you pay attention to something you love, that's key, you're more likely to pay attention to it. I didn't say, okay, focus on your breath. And if you notice, I have not said the word focus or concentrate, and I don't use those in my teaching because those words are overused in meditation world. So another skill is to drop the words focus and concentration from your meditation vocabulary. Here's why. If you tell me to focus on something or concentrate and I lose focus, I'll beat myself up and say, can't you pay attention? So meanwhile, not only am I beating myself up, which is fighting and stress response, but I feel bad about myself and I feel like I failed and I'm less likely to do it. So one of the best things that's come out of this meditation practice for me is I treat myself a lot nicer. And I'm not beating myself up over what I should do. The word should is overused as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have total freedom and you are a rebel. There's nobody that's your boss over your meditation. So if you find yourself starting making rules, say, whose rule is that and do I want to follow it? No, probably not. So that's really important. You can meditate upon absolutely anything. And so you can explore by listening to recordings or just saying what's going around in your normal day. Or think about times you might have meditated when you were a child. Maybe sitting in a bathtub and playing with the water as a meditator. Sitting in a sandbox as a kid. Just laying on the grass looking at the stars. Reading, knitting, playing a musical instrument. Meditation is resting in awareness. So permission to rest, and then how am I aware in a very gentle, kind of open way. You know, Teresa, if it would be helpful, I can do another meditation, maybe a little longer, about 3 minutes, so people can see how this works.
Yes, I love what you just said about meditation is resting in awareness. I'm going to use that as a quote from you, and it's going to be on one of the transformational insights. So yes, absolutely. Yes, take us through another one. Is everybody up for that? Anybody who can see me, raise your hand, shake your head, something. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, for those of you on the phone, I'm sorry I can't see you. If you have something you want to share after this, if something has occurred during this process that you'd like to give voice to, just press *9 on your phone and I'll recognize your hand being raised. And okay, Bernadette, it's all yours. Let's do this again.
Great. Again, make yourself comfortable. And with this type of meditation, there are no rules. So as I'm speaking, if you find yourself drifting somewhere else, let yourself go. If you find your happy place, by the way, we're gonna meditate on a memory here and involve our senses. So I'll give you a bunch of tools in one. But if you find a memory that you really love and then all of a sudden you're wandering through 4 memories, ignore me. If we're going through the senses associated with that memory, and let's say we're on vision and you're remembering something beautiful in your visual field, and I go to hearing and you don't want to go to hearing, ignore me. Tune me out. I'm always thrilled at the end of a meditation when people say, I have no idea what you were saying, but my meditation was great. So as we're doing this, be aware of what we just talked about. We're going to start with permission to rest, and then just notice as thoughts come in, your reaction to those thoughts. Oh, having a thought, I don't have to do anything about it. And just go with great ease and let this go wherever it wants to go. And it may morph into something totally different. You know, one of you had said, I think, Barbara, you were talking about your heartbeat and matching your heartbeat. You may just get totally engaged with that and not go to a memory. Totally up to you. Feel free at any time to change your position. Keep your eyes open until they feel like closing. It might be right away, or it might be not at all. All right?
Okay.
So first of all, give yourself permission to rest. Welcome the flow of thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations in your body. Welcome everything without judgment and without any sense of effort. As you rest, all that you're experiencing is how life is touching you now. The more you welcome this process, the less resistance you'll have to going beyond. Now take yourself for a moment to a memory of something somewhere where you feel totally at rest. Where is your natural place of rest? Where you feel totally at home? Perhaps it was somewhere outdoors, maybe something indoors. It could be something from when you were a young child to something from yesterday. It could be a routine everyday activity, or it could have been a very profound moment in your life. And just rest in awareness of that memory. And let's experience this memory now with our senses and in the present tense. I am aware of seeing. Using the present tense makes this more powerful. Release your eyes from any control and let them move wherever they want to go. I am aware of seeing. Maybe colors or shapes or movement, faces of loved ones, something beautiful in nature. And then open your sense of hearing. I am aware of hearing. What sounds are associated with your memory? Could be something musical, something subtle or loud. Pay attention to sound with no sense of effort, letting your awareness move wherever it wants to go. Now become aware of the sense of smell. I am aware of smelling. If your memory is not associated with smells, that's fine. Don't force it, no big deal. Just go back to another sense. And then I am aware of the sense of taste. Maybe there was food associated with your memory. Maybe you're at the beach and it was the taste of salty air and salty water. And then I'm aware of the sense of touch. Maybe you're being touched by the sun, a gentle breeze, the hand of a loved one. In your memory, I am being touched or touching. Touch is such a rich sense. Be willing to be surprised by what you remember. And then besides our big five senses, there's others. Consider the sense of temperature. What's the temperature like in your memory? Maybe parts of you are warm, parts of you are cool. It's amazing what we can remember very distinctly, possibly many years or decades later. Consider the sense of gravity, where you were in contact with the earth. Consider the space all around you, in front of you, on your sides, behind you, above you, and below you. And lastly, consider the sense of motion. Maybe your body as you were breathing in that moment, movement of something in the scene, perhaps the sound of something moving. And now for a space of a few breaths, return to whichever sense you enjoyed the most and rest there a little longer. Perhaps you rotate between the senses or take it all in like a symphony. It's really up to you. Noticing the rhythm of all you're experiencing. And then very gently start to bring yourself back. That was about 5 minutes, so we'll take about a minute here to readjust. Just noticing how you integrated that meditation and what you experienced. Don't be surprised if your memory perhaps brought up some emotions, and welcome that rhythm. If you'd like, you can bring some motion to your hands or your feet, a stretch or a yawn or a sigh, whatever feels right. And if your eyes were closed, when you're ready, open them gently. And Teresa, as people come back, I'd love to hear what they experienced, what it was like.
Okay, so if you want to share your experience and you're on the phone, press *9. If you're on the screen, raise your hand or click on the little hand raising thing there. And while people start to come around and start to share their experience, Barbara, did I see you raise your hand? Yes, okay. Unmuted, there you go.
I have my iWatch on. My heart rate is 58.
There's a major health benefit right there.
Yeah. I'm usually in the 60s, but it's down in the 50s now.
That's wonderful.
It's funny because I got a real view of the things that I love the most. I was able to take that one memory, and it started from there, but all these other pictures came in. And I really love being outdoors. I love being outside. So the favorite memory was me laying in a lawn chair on the heat. I was in the desert. The heat had broken. It was the first day where it was not, 110. It was more like 70 something. And I was laying on a patio and there was a wind, and I love the wind, and there was a wind chime. So that's the beginning of the memory. And then what happens is that it goes forward, and then I remember all the other times that I was someplace that I really liked that was like that. Mm-hmm. And then I was able to go through all the touch and things like that too. I like soft. Soft is a big thing for me. And so I added a blanket, and so there's, which is also, comforting as well. Yeah. So it was really a wonderful journey. It just felt more like a journey to me. I did not stay with the initial memory or the initial focus.
Now, could you imagine, Barbara, if I had invented a meditation, everybody go to a lawn chair in the desert, right? You would have been happy and everyone else would have said, not for me. And so you start to, as you meditate, you start to notice, what do I pay attention to? What do I crave? What do I love? And try to bring that into your meditation time. That memory could be your meditation for months. Or you can just try to bring the sun in more, or the sound of something like chimes, you said. You just start to notice what you loved or what surprised you and bring that into your time of rest. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yes, it's very helpful. Very helpful.
Awesome.
I like the no rule thing. I love the no
rules. Throw them out.
Yeah. We have too many rules in our life. You're right about that. Too many supposed to's and you shoulds and you have to's. And it's so nice to just have this time where there's no rules.
Yeah. And having permission to stop and not have rules is so against our culture and our mindset that we're supposed to go and not stop and we should follow all the rules. And meanwhile, it's so intuitive for us to meditate. It's so natural that we'll do it without any instruction if we give ourselves permission to rest and find something we love. And so sitting in that chair in the desert, you were meditating. You might not have called it meditation. And so once people understand that we're wired to do it, it's biological, it's our bodies want to do it. We just have to pay attention to something lovely and rest with it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Barbara. Any other thoughts on?
Yeah, I've got a couple of people here with their hands up. So let me go here to, hello, your line is open.
Is that mine, Teresa?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm actually on a walk, and so it's an interesting experience because I was aware of everything around me, but it was so much more peaceful, and I bounced from one memory to another. Mm-hmm. With different senses in each memory. So it was very enriching. And really, I went from one family member to another, which was really kind of neat. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. From the mountains in Mexico to, the canyons in Malibu and different places that I've been to that were so enriching with different people. So thank you for the meditation. It was lovely.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And when you go there on a memory, you are actually triggering the same areas in your brain. You're experiencing it again, and so that's why it will change you, physically, mentally, emotionally. Is you're just there again and experiencing it. And so something else you can do based on what you said, you can just do a sensory walk. What am I seeing? What am I hearing? I just gave you a package of like a dozen tools. One is a memory. The other tools can involve just opening one sense. What do I see?
Yeah.
Once you know this, a waiting room is never boring again, or standing in line is never boring again. I have to meditate. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I smell? I used to go, I love the woods. I crave the woods, and I would go for a walk in the woods, and I would use that time to work something out mentally. I'd be engaged. I'd be working so hard. I'd be exhausted by the time I was done walking. And once I learned to meditate, I feel myself getting in that mode. I go, oh, what do I do? And I usually only get
I'm in mute, Teresa. I just muted her out because of the background noise. We couldn't hear you. So go ahead.
When I go for a walk, I usually only need 1 or 2 sentences. Usually for me, it's vision and hearing, and I'm back into my rest mode. And so just knowing that when you're resting in awareness, the only way you're aware is if you open up your senses, externally and internally. So meditation is a full life experience, internal and external. So we could have done a body scan. We could have done a concept like gratitude. We could have done breathing. We could do outdoors. We could do anything. Anybody have anything else to share in their meditation? I know you said a few more hands were up.
Yeah, there's another one right here. I think this is Christy. She shared earlier. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, yeah, this is Krista again.
Krista, thank
So
you.
I noticed that I started with one memory and I went between memories, kind of like what they were saying before.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of started to try to combine some of the elements of different ones to see what that would be like.
Yes.
But one thing I did notice though, and I've noticed in the past when I've tried to do these imagery exercises, is that sometimes you feel like, well, gosh, this is such a pale shadow compared to the real experience. I really wish I had the real thing. Mm-hmm. And you start to get really down about not having the real thing. So what would you suggest when you get to that moment of, gosh, darn it?
Thank you for saying that. Everything in life is a play of opposites. And in meditation, if you can tolerate the extremes, meditation is wonderful. So for you, you're in a memory that feels really nice. And all of a sudden it brings up sadness because you're not physically actually there. And then you go over to this way. So all you do is write it and say, oh, I'm happy with my memory. Oh, I'm not so happy because I'm not there. And you just say, oh, that's all. And as you're practicing opening your senses and your awareness, you're going to find more moments like that in your life, in your everyday life. And you'll start to draw those into you. So what you're experiencing is totally normal. If I meditate on gratitude, I'll start thinking of all the loved ones in my life, and then I'll be sad over the ones that are gone. And instead of saying, no, I'm not supposed to think that or feel that, I say, oh, I'm feeling sad. And then the emotion moves in us, which is what the word emotion means, movement. And we tend to block those emotions. Like I hold tension in my shoulders and neck, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I hold stuff there. And we hold it all over our body. So when we sense something like you just described, oh, that didn't feel so good. And if we try to push it away or block it, we're not letting it move and teach us. And so this is such an important concept when you say, this is what I'm experiencing. Wonderful. I welcome it. That's when it's healthy.
Wow. You know, Krista, anything else
So
you
just
want
to
to add?
feel it. So you're saying just to let it go and feel it and not try to prevent it from happening or not do the exercise because you're concerned about it happening or whatever.
Yes. Thank you. That's so beautiful. That's the power of this type of meditation. It's so healing because you're actually integrating all parts of yourself, the parts that are happy, the parts that are sad, the parts that are at rest, the parts that are restless. And you just let that memory teach you again. Like, oh, I'm really craving that in my life. Or, you know, I'm still open my senses. It was still rich, even though it wasn't as vivid. And you just be with it. And the more you do that, the more you integrate, the more you become part of yourself. You know, sometimes, I think for me, I felt really disconnected from myself until I started to meditate. And then you start to spend time with what you just described and you welcome it. It's, I welcome everything. And then that's when the healing comes from meditation. Yeah, you said it perfectly.
Thank you so much, Krista.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marilyn, I'm going to open your line for you.
Thank you. I don't know, when I went into this meditation, maybe you were watching me, I don't know, it really felt like I went into a deep sleep. And then, of course, when you started talking about coming to, I did, but I really felt like I was out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you aware of hearing me or everything was gone?
Everything was gone until you started telling us to come out of it.
Well, Marilyn, that's beautiful. When you meditate, if you fall asleep, it just means you're sleep deprived. It's perfectly fine and normal. Welcome it.
Okay.
There are some types of meditation that say, oh, you shouldn't sleep, be more disciplined and focused. Well, there are no rules, so we throw that out the window. And then also, when you meditate, it can often feel like you're falling asleep. You know, that state right before sleep? And often people will say, I feel like I felt asleep, but I was still aware. And so as you slide into that place, you were wonderful. Who comes up for you because you allowed it to happen? Because that's what you physically needed, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. You needed to go into sleep or a very near deep sleep, almost sleep-like state. It's totally normal and healthy. And you probably, feel pretty good right now, but you welcomed it and you didn't fight it. And you didn't listen to anything I said, and you did exactly what you wanted to do.
Okay.
Do you feel rested?
Yeah.
Yeah. And notice your mental clarity as the afternoon goes on, or, how you feel any different because you allowed that to happen.
Okay.
So all these things we're paying attention to, our senses or memory or breathing, are just gateways into a deep sense of rest. And that's what you did. So beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn. So I have a question in regard to what Marilyn just said about how she actually fell asleep during that meditation because her body, as you pointed out, is probably sleep deprived and whatnot. I have heard it said that 20 minutes of meditation equals 8 hours of rest, 8 hours of sleep. What is your opinion on that? And how does what just happened with Marilyn, how will that benefit her during her day in terms of her ability to rest, besides giving herself permission, her ability to rest now when she goes to sleep at night?
Yeah. What happens when you meditate is your body needs oxygen, and so your demands for oxygen are reduced when you meditate. And depends on which study you're looking at, but I've learned that it's about 15 or 20 minutes of meditation is equivalent to many hours of sleep in terms of the reduced oxygen demand. So in 20 minutes, you can get to a lower oxygen demand as you would with many hours of sleep. And we just had Beverly talk about her heart rate changing. That's why, because her cells don't need as much oxygen when you're resting.
Mm-hmm.
So physiologically, you're changing. So what happens is you're mentally more clear, because when you do start doing things, you've got more oxygen, you're rested, it's going to the parts of the brain that think. I find a lot of my clients sleep better because when they lay down to sleep, because they've meditated earlier in the day, they've allowed those thoughts to process and they've dealt with them, so they don't have as many racing thoughts. But if they do have racing thoughts, they say, I welcome them. And all of a sudden they get quieter. It's like a little kid that comes up to you and is saying, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. And you're saying, go away, I'm meditating, go away, I'm meditating. And they keep nagging you, and you finally turn to them and say, okay, I'm paying attention to you. And they say one thing and they're gone. So thoughts are like little kids that are annoying you, and when you welcome it, it's great. So you'll have more mental clarity. You'll be emotionally more stable. Less reactive is a really big one, because there'll be somebody in your life that gets you all revved up, and now you've practiced in your meditation. I don't have to do anything about you right now. And so you kind of collect yourself and you decide whether or not I really need to react to this situation, or I can just say, I don't have to do anything about you.
Yeah.
These little skills I'm giving you are incredibly empowering. So it can change your day based on what you're practicing in your meditation. Yeah.
So it really gives us the power to be present with ourselves all the time.
Yes.
That's what really this meditation is. And something I wrote down that that I've heard before, like emotion is really energy in motion. And I got this thing from Mind Valley to sit in on a class with Donna Eden. Do you know who she is?
No, I don't.
So she's energy healing. And what she said, you encouraged exactly the same thing that she said. Allow the energy to flow. Allow the emotions to come up. Allow the feelings to be there and the sensations and everything to be there. Because really, technically, they are all healing. The way that we get sick, if you will, is because we block that energy from being in motion. And I was like, I so related to that. And she gave some techniques to keep the energy moving. But it's interesting how that correlates with your practice of meditation and being in that space of allowing those things and being conscious of what's actually going on, rather than zoning out into wherever it is that someone else tells you should go while you say Om all the time. And not that there's anything wrong with that, because that vibration does something else to you as well. So it all works together for the good. So
yeah. Om is very powerful. It's a very powerful word with great vibrations, and it's just something you pay attention to gently. It's how you respond to everything that's going on while you're doing Om.
Yeah.
That's very important to this type of meditation.
Absolutely.
The emotions, people think I'm a meditation coach and I walk around like this all day. I don't. I actually honor my emotions a lot more. I've been able to express anger, rage, jealousy, fear more. And so there are times I've meditated and I feel total rage. And there's times I've meditated where I feel love. And there's times I meditate and I feel fear. And you just go, oh, what does this feel like? And I welcome it. I had a client who had some major fear in her life, very significant. And she just got into it physically. What does it feel like? And she had physically felt it move, the energy, and then drain out of her. And she processed it, where if we tried to block it, it stays inside of us. And, we all know that if somebody dies and we're going through grief, everyone knows, well, if you don't deal with it, it's going to bite you in the butt later. And so meditation is about a richness, a fullness. It's about resting in richness too. Like, I love resting in awareness, but it's resting in the richness of life and love.
Yeah. I love that. And what you just said is so important, allowing it to flow and feeling it actually go out of your body, because that's what it's and I don't know if this is your opinion either, but as a biologist, you're probably absolutely in agreement with this. If we don't process these feelings, they settle into our body in ways that can actually create disease inside.
Yes.
So, and that's exactly what Donna Eden said too while I was listening to her. It's just amazing how, for those of us who are in, let's say, I want to say healing modalities. Barbara does healing work. A lot of people who listen to this conversation, they do healing work. Now, healing doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have the initials of being a doctor at the end of your name or designations that qualify you to be a healer. It's not, we all have this capability, and healing yourself, all of the things that we need to heal ourselves from, whether it's emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, any kind of thing that's going on, we have the capability within us. And I think meditation is the gateway to those capabilities. Would you say that's true?
Yes, absolutely, because it's allowing our body in a time of rest to do what it needs to heal and to rejuvenate and restore. Back when humans became into existence, you didn't go down to the pharmacy or run down to your local doctor. It was about what you were putting into your body, etc. And it is so self-healing, because your body gets time out and a rest, and we're complex. We're not just, people often say to me, meditation's about the mind. It's not. It's about the whole mind, body, spirit. It's everything. We just spend time with it and welcome where it is. Since I started meditating, I rarely get sick. I got that really bad cold this year. But, I was sick all the time. And so I changed what I was eating and I started to meditate. And I rarely get sick now. And I rarely nap. I used to nap all the time. And now I just dive into meditation. And, one thing nobody's asked, but I'm sure comes up, is how long should I meditate for? If you're just starting, keep it really short, 1 to 10 minutes, once or twice a day, or do a bunch of 1 minutes all day long. You want to give yourself time to get used to walking around with your senses open. And because this is an important piece. When you start to spend time with yourself, what you're holding on to comes up to be felt or processed or experienced. Sometimes people feel great anxiety when they start to meditate, because they go, oh, time to rest. Well, that's what I was worrying about. That's how it felt. And you might not even know what you're thinking about, but you'll feel the tension, and people will run away from meditation saying, oh my God, it makes me anxious. But you just see with it and say, oh, I feel anxious today, or I feel stressed, I feel tired, I feel this, I feel that. And you do it in really short spurts, because if you do it for an hour, way too much stuff will come up to process. So you keep it short in order to process and to get used to walking through life with your senses open to everything.
I'm glad you said that, because I think that some other teachers would encourage you to have the longer period of meditation, the more relaxed you'll be. But I tend to agree with you, because you're opening up all these channels in your body. You're opening up all these sensations, all this. I don't know about you, but when I was in that meditation this last time, I was like, not only was I present with where I was in my being in that experience of, I was walking along the beach. I felt the sand in my toes. I felt the water lapping up onto my feet. I heard the seagulls. I was there. And because I allowed myself to be there, I had this I had chills all over my body, like I was transported somewhere. It's really interesting how that happened. And I'm usually not that, I don't always experience, I shouldn't say I'm usually not, I don't always experience meditation quite as vividly as I did in that experience that you took us through today. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So, we are 5 minutes to the hour. This hour has flown by. So I want to ask anybody if they have any questions on anything that we have discussed so far. And while everybody is gathering those questions, I just want to ask you to give your contact information and talk about what you have available on your website that people can go there to get. I know you have a meditation something there. So talk about what you have on your website that's available to us.
The website's lightyourfiremeditation.com. And you can reach me there. I have an online video course, which is self-paced. You go through it on your own. It's about 2.5 hours long, and it goes through a lot of these principles in some more detail. You'll get 7 skills, 7 guided meditations, 7 nature videos, and then sort of challenges to start to incorporate this into your day. And so that's on the website. I'm so excited I have coming up a new program starting March 5th. It's going to be a private Facebook meditation course for 2 weeks. And what will happen is we'll meet for maybe 10 minutes a day, 10 to 15 minutes a day. And you can come and go at your own pace. Some of the sessions will be live. Some of it will be recorded. And there'll be a lot of time to, with Facebook, it's wonderful to interact with each other. And so that'll be going on for 2 weeks. And I have it on sale. It's normally $47, but because it's my first time teaching in a Facebook group format, that's going to be for $27. So it's a great way to get in, and you'll have, a lot of personal contact with me. I'll have office hours, so to speak, where you can log on and chat with me. So it's a really neat way. So if you know anybody that's interested, hop on my website and sign up for that. And once you sign up, I'll just put you in the private group, and then we'll start March 5th and run for 2 weeks.
Okay.
I hear from people they don't have time, and they want to incorporate it into their daily life, and you'll be getting reminders every day, and it's not big chunks of time. When you have support on a daily basis, you're much more likely to develop the practice.
Talk about that for a second in terms of meditating. Like, we together as a group today went through this process of meditation, and I think that the energy of the group, speaking about energy, because everything is energy, I think the energy of the group allows you to tap into something that's bigger, therefore making it easier for you to have the best experience possible. What's your thought about that, and how can we take that energetically into our practice privately, where we may not be doing everything at the same time as everyone else, like we did today?
Yeah, when I work with people in a group like this, or a group in person, the energy shifts, and sometimes it just feels even easier to meditate in that way. But when you sit to meditate by yourself, if you feel like you want more of that connection, you can just set the intention of just feeling like you're with other people, and just bring in the awareness of maybe loved ones or the world as a whole, and just honor that sense of being part of something bigger than yourself, and then dive into your meditation. I also work with people privately, one-on-one, and I do that in person, on the phone, through Zoom, through Skype, through FaceTime. And what's interesting is everyone thinks meditation has to be done in 1 hour spurts like we do here. But I often work with people, once we get rolling, we do 10 or 15 or 20 or 30-minute conversations. Depends on what their schedule is like. So if people like to work with me one-on-one, I'm very flexible on how we do it. Every day, or once a week, or once a month, or as needed.
Mm-hmm. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to do that? What's your email address for contact?
It's BernieKoz2@frontier.com. That's BernieKoz as in zebra, the number 2, @frontier.com. And they can also call me. My phone number is 570-240-3444.
34, say it again.
3444.
44, okay. So Bernie Koz, BernieKoz2@frontier.com, and 570-240-3444.
Yeah.
And for those people who are local to Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, what do you have available locally? I know that some of your people are on the call, or registered for the call at least. What do you have locally?
I've got an office in Clark Summit, and I've got some classes coming up there. February 21st is my next one. But if they hop on my website, I've got a bunch of, I do classes for people with recovery from addiction as well. I've got a couple workshops coming up with that. I co-host some stuff with a nutritional healing coach in the area, Donna Labar. And so I've got a bunch of events on there. So the best thing is just go on my website and check that out. And also, if you want to join my Facebook page, then you'll get announcements there as well. And that's Bernadette Kozlowski, meditation coach. You're welcome to follow me there as well.
Awesome. So much information. This has been an incredible hour. Any last comments from anybody before we close? We are at the top of the hour. No? Last words, Bernadette. Bernadette, this is your chance.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here today. Know that, A, give yourself permission to rest. Find something you love to pay attention to and just linger there and throw the rules and the shoulds out the window, and you'll naturally do this. And it'll change your life very quickly. And then there's so many different layers, to explore. And if there's anything I can do, if you just want to chat for a few minutes or ask a quick question, or you had an experience today you want to share with me, feel free to reach out to me with any of those contact information.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to have you here. This has been an incredibly powerful hour, and I hope that anyone who is here live, or those of you listening to the replay, which you will get now on the website, transformationaltuesdays.com. Everything's going to be up there by the end of the week. And information will be in the blog. A little bit different. We're not going to send that out every week. We're going to ask you to go to the website to retrieve it. But a notification will go out of the new procedure, so watch for that in your email. And until we meet again next week, enjoy traveling what I like to call the transformational trails of life. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone.